So I just wanted to go live today to give you some tips about being a travel influencer in France. So I want to tell you about the cultural etiquettes that I've noticed here in France. So, number one are cheek kisses. So, if you're from other places where you shake hands or you give hugs, there's not that much shaking of hands here. It's two kisses, and they're fake kisses. So, um, your head goes first to the left, to their cheek, and then to the right, to their cheek. So, they're fake kisses, and the shaking of hands isn't really done. If you don't really want to do the fake cheek kisses, then you can just greet them with your words. But just to let you guys know, cultural etiquette here in France is two fake cheek kisses. And they're fake, you make the sound. They're not real kisses. And it's just a greeting, and that's completely normal here. Number two is they say bonjour. So bonjour is the greeting, anytime during the day before, 5 p.m. So bonjour is how they say hello. But after 6 p.m., they say bonsoir. Okay? That's bonsoir, bonsoir. And that is greeting someone in the afternoon. So you can't say bonjour all day. Even though you can, they'll get it. But you're going to start hearing them say bonsoir. And then au revoir is to say goodbye. So in France, as a travel influencer, to say goodbye is au revoir, au revoir. And that's Aureoir. And then one thing that I noticed a difference in, especially if you're from another place where they eat fast, is that they eat slower here in France. And so take your time when you're eating with someone who's French. They eat slower, and they really like to have their meals, their appetizer separated from the main meal, separated from their dessert. So take time, go slow, because they're going to eat slower. There's a bit of a slower pace here just in general, compared to, let's say, a big city where things are fast. But if you're not from a big city, then it might be a similar vibe. But if you're coming from a big city, then yeah, you're gonna notice a pacing difference. So give your French friends time to eat and consider slowing down and know that meals are slow. Next is a restaurant break hour. So restaurants usually take a break between 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. So they're just not gonna be open. So that's a helpful travel influencer tip, is that when you're going to restaurants in France, they will ask you to leave at about 2:30 if you had lunch there, and they're not going to open up again until 7, 6:30. So that's helpful to know, especially if you're organizing events. And specifically in Paris or even in the south of France, getting a reservation is necessary, even for some small cafes like in Marseille. You'll still have to get a reservation. Okay, on top of that, grocery store hours. So this is a big one. Number 7, tips for travel influencers in France is the stores open late and they close early. So stores don't open, grocery stores, convenience stores don't open at 6 a.m. They open at 10, if you're lucky, 9 a.m. and they close early, like 7 p.m. On weekends, they close even earlier. So please do keep that in mind. Thank you so much for your comments and your gifts. Thank you so much. So be sure to plan ahead. So if you want to have a breakfast early in the morning at home, you got to go to the store very early because nothing's open. They don't even have 24-hour convenience stores anywhere. Like if you're traveling in Asia, like Korea has 24-hour convenience stores, even if the grocery stores aren't open. They don't have that. Everything opens late, closes early. Other differences are tipping. So for tipping, typically at a restaurant, at a normal restaurant, they're just gonna give you the bill, and if they take your card, they're just gonna swipe it. But you won't get a chance to give a tip. So you have to tell them the tip amount before they take your card, because they're just gonna have you pay for the order. They're not even gonna ask about the tip. So you have to tell them in advance, hey, add $2, hey, add $3 to this, hey, add $5 to the meal so I can tip you. So tip in advance, tell them in advance, because they're not going to calculate anything for you or force you to do anything. And then ask questions. So let's say you're looking for help or looking for directions. One thing that I would say is definitely first try to find the information booth, or if you're in a subway, try to find the people in the subway who work there who can help you. There's people walking around, and there's people in the line in the booth, okay? Not just in the booth, but there's sometimes people walking around. Anyone wearing an official thing, you can ask them. But if there's nobody like that, I would say if you're open to it, you can always ask a mother with kids. A mother with kids usually can get you around or can help you. And they'll be more open to speaking in English. Thank you so much for your hearts and your likes and your comments. Thank you guys. Okay, and then we also have the advice to bring cash. So while you're traveling around Paris and while you're traveling around France, thank you so much for your comments. While you're traveling around Paris and while you're traveling around France, bring cash with you. So thank you so much for your hearts. So when you're traveling around, there is the main metros and things like that, but you have to keep in mind that as soon as you leave outside of like the Paris perimeter and the main subways going outside of the outskirts of Paris, every city has their own bus line or different thing or different app. So bring at least a little bit of cash, especially in the south of France. Every city, like you'll just walk over and there's a different bus system. So just have some cash on you. And so yeah, those are my 11 tips for traveling around in Paris and in the south of France. If you're interested in traveling, I would encourage you to not just travel, and take a couple photos of the sites, but kind of plan what photos you're going to take, kind of plan a strategy. There's so much more that you can do that you could possibly monetize a little bit while you're traveling, or as a guide in your own city. So even if you can't travel, these are things you can do as a guide in your own city. So join my travel influencer community, where we're going to give you some tips and tricks on what to do when you're traveling or as a guide in your own city, because people want to travel around with you. I'm in so many groups and people are interested in going to different places. They're not always looking for big cities, they're looking for the small towns. So thank you so much, Game and Tony, for coming to my live, and for everybody else who's joined. And I'm so excited to continue to share with you guys daily. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye.